She'll now start going to physical therapy. Gave her a prescription for that, so she's moving right along.
Lori, can you hear us? Lori?
Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Is it still too late?
Hi, Lori.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
So nice to hear your voice.
It is nice to hear your voice.
Nice to hear you.
Thank you. It's very nice. Thank you. Good to be here.
Does someone want to pass out the prayer cards? They're in
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Darcy.
Hi there.
Hi, everybody.
Is this the right one? Should we give everybody the right one? That's a new one for me. No, those are a different ones.
Oh, they are? Yeah.
Way to go, Dave.
No, I'm just keeping you on your
No,
toes,
yeah,
Karen.
keeping
You
me
know
on
what
my
that
toes.
is.
We don't have a lot of these, so if someone wants to read.
Dave and I can share.
We're gonna have fun.
I'll share.
No, I won't
That's-
share with you. I'm
That's
gonna
the kind
share
of
with
person I
Jan.
am.
I'll share with
Yeah, we'll share.
Oh, I'm out.
Lori doesn't have one of these, right?
Okay, do you want me
Oh,
to start?
sure.
Let us prepare ourselves for the day before us and claim its potential sent by God. Let us pray. We offer to God our concerns for today. We bring to God those who are on our minds today. Let us pray for the church. Let us pray for ourselves. And let us pray together.
Lord, give us wisdom before we speak, understanding while we listen, sensitivity towards those we meet, and the perspective of your kingdom in which to see.
May Christ's warm welcome shine from our hearts. May Christ teach us how to lead our lives with love. May Christ's own peace prevail through this and every day. Amen.
Amen.
So we're gonna go right into the agenda. First up is search committee. So take it away, Barb and Dave.
Well, Friday morning, an email came in that brought an unexpected end to our discernment with Reverend Julianne withdrawing from consideration. She had taken a call at another church in Chicago. She won't tell us yet where she has under a gag order. She can't say where she's going to at this point. It's not a big deal to us at any rate. But yeah, that leaves Reverend Greg as our prime choice, the one we're bringing to the table for our priest.
We met with the search committee on Sunday. It is a unanimous vote to move Greg forward to present to the bishop committee this evening. After there was a phone call made to Greg by Dave and myself
Saturday morning.
to see if he was still interested, and he said yes. And so he knew that we were meeting as a search committee, and that if the vote went favorably, which we had no reason to anticipate that it didn't, that we would present him to the bishop's committee this evening.
So that puts the ball in your guys' court. We have an email from Andrea that outlines things. Basically, the next move is for Lori to telephone the bishop and tell him, well, if they concur with our choice, you guys have to discern at this point and make a decision if there's any decision to be made. But then, yeah, at that point, then you call the bishop, and because the bishop, of course, runs the mission here, that's how we make the call, basically.
So we make a motion and vote on it, and then we can move ahead. Is that what I'm hearing?
We can have a discussion.
Yeah,
I think it just
Discussion,
how long it
discussion.
takes you to, yeah.
And we're fortunate because Jan, Erin, Mary, and myself are all on search committee. So if there are questions that bishop committee members have, you've got 5 of us that have been involved in the process. So if there's questions, concerns,
I'd like to just make a comment from the search committee that just because Reverend Julianne backed out doesn't mean that Greg, we're settling for Greg. We believe that Greg was in the lead to begin with.
Yeah, Greg was our first
Yes,
choice.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
that
I-
was unanimous
Thank
with all
God,
of
he
us.
works in
Yeah.
mysterious
So I
ways.
didn't want anybody to think that, oh, she backed out, so Greg's all we have.
You're right.
Good point. He was, I think, first choice for all.
Yeah.
Can I make a motion, get a second, and then we'll have discussion? I make a motion that we accept the search committee's candidate, Greg Milliken.
Reverend Greg Miller.
Reverend Greg Milliken, be our new vicar.
I'll second that.
Do we want to have a discussion?
Yeah, I agree.
We
Yeah,
need
I think
it.
we should. I mean, a brief discussion, we should make that a little. He's good with the salary and everything that was,
Well, that's,
I guess that's where we
that's
need
your,
to
where you step
discuss.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Negotiations is up to the best.
Okay.
I mean, we prepped him for what we know was available, and he knows the ballpark areas.
Okay.
And of course, he's very much interested in living in the vicarage.
Okay.
So they're interested in the home, which is
Yes.
wonderful,
Okay.
Mhm.
which that reflects then in the package that he would be provided
Mhm.
salary.
He did mention in one of our conversations in the car that he was wondering in terms of length of, and I don't know if contract's the right word, but length of contract.
He was interested in the contract.
A contract. One, I think because clearly he would be relocating out here, so he would like to have some
Invested,
stability.
yeah, I mean,
So-
sure, they want to know that we're investing time
Yes.
in him as well.
And we want stability. Well,
yeah,
that works
both
both
ways,
ways,
both ways,
yeah.
Right, I think we preferred if you could do a 20-year contract. but I'm sure-
Like, I even
I
said
don't
we
know.
could do at least like 3 years, like, I don't know.
I don't know.
No, I
like,
think
but-
5 years. I would push for 5 years.
I would do something 1 year with renewal, 5 years after the first year. That's
Yeah,
fine.
because
Does that give him enough stability?
I
What's
don't know.
standard? There's gotta be a
Yeah,
standard.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I've
guess we
done
need
this
to
before.
check with that.
Andrea
Andrea.
would be able to guide us.
Yeah, I agree though with Bob though, that we
You're
should
gonna
have.
to- Pardon me, you're gonna have to speak with Victor.
I will say that I had a different perspective of, I didn't get to see him in person, but I just listened to his sermon and I thought it was wonderful.
Mhm.
I agree.
I think everybody agrees.
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
are very impressed.
I'm just gonna repeat myself. I think if we can, we should go for as long as we can. And I think the longest would be reasonable, a 5-year contract. The 3 years placed and he got 1 year and then he's leaving, that doesn't do it.
Well, I think what Bob is trying to say is in case, I mean, this is all, rainbows and unicorns right now, but what if we get in here and,
No, I was
Right,
just,
and-
I was just simply saying, there's probably a standard contract
That's
for
right.
this sort of thing, standard length, so why not just go with that?
But I've been working on the bishops committee in the past and being through several new priests. I don't recall us ever talking about a contract
Yeah,
with a priest.
I don't know.
As a mission, we've never had a contract with a priest.
I think it might be with the diocese.
So I think we need to find that out. But yeah, we want to make sure too that if, we don't want to get locked into where if there is, if things don't work out or if things just, don't come through either, we don't want to have somebody here, permanently.
I want to say
Well,
I've seen on contracts before with the diocese that it's been either 3 to 5 years with a 6-month to 1 year probationary period.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
so what it
okay.
is. So you pick like 3 to 5, and then depending on that, you pick 6 months or to a year probation. So I think is how it.
That could work very well. So,
And in talking to Steve, you cannot fire a vicar. The diocese has to do it, and it has to be for a violation of canon law. And they looked all the way through. So that covers both of us, and that covers him, I think.
yeah, we want to make sure that, he's
I want
happy.
him to have a comfort.
Right, we want him to be as happy as we are, so I think that's the key there.
Are we ready for a vote?
Well, how much, I mean, I heard $50,000. That's what I heard. So what's the number?
Well, that's what's on his information, I think, again.
Okay.
You guys need to negotiate however you.
That it was the 50,000 plus his insurance, plus his stipend, you know, all the things that were listed on there. And I do believe it's almost 120 or something, 110 or something when it's all said and done.
Okay, I guess we need to, well, that's gonna have to be something that the contract's we're gonna have to look at that a little bit more in depth, because we need to.
I don't have it.
Right.
Debbie had given me the, but it looks like 50,000, but by the time we pay all the retirement, you know, all of the things that we have to contribute to, that's what
Does that include,
we end up.
does that include the vicarage? It must, to be at 120. It must include the vicarage, probably 15 to 20,000. I'm thinking.
No, it's not like that. It's
It does include the
a
vicarage.
different stuff. It's a different rate.
All right, well, that's something that we can, you know, it sounds like maybe that's opening, and maybe we can negotiate some costs for that.
Right.
Okay.
So do we need to form, like, after we vote, and assuming everyone's moving forward, do we have to form a small kind of table team for Bishop's Committee to work out all of these contractual?
I think
that-
initially, the junior warden and the senior warden
Yes.
was responsible for negotiating the contract with the incoming.
That was-
I'm okay with that.
of this-
And there's really not a lot of room to negotiate. We have to give them a certain amount for the retirement. We have to give them a certain amount of their insurance. We don't have a lot of choices. We can choose about a cell phone but they pretty much tell you what we have to provide.
Well, if you
We
go
have a
with,
basic fee, so I can pull that up. I do have that information. I just don't have it up
on
here.
her budget right here,
And Debbie counts.
on Debbie's
I'm sorry.
budget, on Debbie's budget sheet here, we know how much it costs for the stipend and social security assistance. We know how much it's for the health insurance.
Mhm.
Even the cell phone.
So
We
this
got
is,
the pension, which is,
Continuing
About
to add
10,000.
which is, yeah,
sabbatical.
plus, 99.64. So we're at, and then this, no, the vicarage utilities, we pay, I guess more of us pay that no matter what.
Yeah, we don't pay that.
Plus, I guess,
We do.
1,200 for whatever sabbatical savings are. Anyways, I got 117,000. And that's all stuff that we have.
Yeah, it's just about 120.
Okay.
That's about right.
That includes the 50,000 for the salary.
Mhm.
70,000 extra.
So she had it, yeah, she had it all worked in here.
Okay. Yeah, I thought we had put it in there properly last year for the budget. I mean, we pretty much had it locked down
There was
about
a
that.
financial meeting.
Yeah.
You came up with those numbers
Last year, we had those numbers last year, so
Right.
I just wanted
So,
to make sure that we were still within that.
I mean, considering that we didn't have one this year, the budget that thing versus that is not really too bad.
Well, we didn't have to pay the insurance
Right.
this year, so that saved us about 20 grand. So it is a killer. And we also didn't have to pay into the pension. I mean, we had to pay a minute amount of money into the pension, so that saved us right there about $30,000 this year.
Yeah.
I mean, so that was a huge savings.
because we didn't have.
Because we didn't have,
Right.
yeah, that person there, so that kind of helped, you know, so we can pull that into this year.
And we do have to decide if we're going to give him the sabbatical, the small amount that increases that he can put together so that he can use it several years down the line if he so chooses, but loses it if he leaves, like with Ellen.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also too, do we, need to include, well, I guess that'll be something for another time, but for you guys, moving expenses?
Does she have that worked in here?
I know, we did not have that worked in there, actually, Tom brought that
This
to
is,
my
this is
attention.
this year's, but.
Yeah, we didn't, I'll be honest, I didn't think about that, that wasn't something I
You talked about it.
really thought about until Tom brought it to my attention.
I'll drive a truck.
Okay. You know, Dave, whatever we can do, I mean, if we can get it to where the parish.
If they
wants it,
won't,
then-
I will.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think they will, actually.
I know.
Yeah.
See, that's the, there was a certain,
Small rental truck.
we didn't use.
About
6,000 we-
25
you
grand,
guys have
2,500.
about, you have about 5,000 left in the search budget.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
we
that-
haven't hardly spent anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's money that we're gonna use into next year, but I mean, there's still some expenses that you guys are gonna have. you
Well,
know,
no,
as
but
far
I'm
as
saying,
that
could that potentially go towards
Towards
the
the
moving?
goes.
Yeah.
It could be, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
It
yeah.
would just be redirected.
Yeah, we'll just
Yeah.
redirect that.
I thought that was part of it. I thought that
No.
was like-
No,
No, we kept that separate, that was a separate line item. Mhm.
it was for airplanes and things like that.
Yeah, the Zoom, things like that,
Yeah.
you know, that you guys had purchased for that time, so that was fine. All right.
Okay,
So it looks like we had the budget, we have everything budgeted
Mhm.
this past year. So that's not a surprise.
Right,
It's not like he wants like 80 or 90 grand and then we gotta pay all this stuff out of it.
right. Well, in the health insurance, I don't know if you already said this, she budgeted 22 and a half.
Mhm.
It's, I think for a couple, it's 16. So, okay, now that was my other question. Are we gonna be paying Andrew's insurance as well, or is Andrew gonna stay separate?
is that something?
No, we have to, if he has a spouse, we're required to pay.
Okay.
It's just like.
All right, I wasn't sure if we were required to pay or not.
Unless they do not want it.
Okay,
Or unless he's covered under something else, which he is.
I don't think so.
okay, so he's under here. Okay, so it's 16 then,
He's a
Megan?
student.
Yeah, so that's, what, a $6,000 difference? That's okay, we'll keep it at 22. I'd much prefer to keep it, let me just say this, if the budget is already budgeted there, we'll just keep it there for next year. That way we can reallocate if we need to. But I'd prefer to have it a little bit on the high side, then I would be surprised with it at year's end.
Have some flexibility.
Yeah, let's have a little flexibility in that. Yeah, it is a guide, so.
Okay. Can we call a vote?
Do we know time frame in terms of the search?
We asked if, now, again, every time we preface anything with Greg, if we were, he thought February 1st would be a reasonable time. He obviously has a position that has to be filled, and he had put out some feelers, but nothing was settled. So he was thinking February 1st.
When he would pick up and move, or when he would hope to be
Be here.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so he's got a year before
So if we're
I-
asked. go
I
ahead,
talked
Lori.
to Father Tom, and he said that he would be willing to stay to the end of February, so we have a little flexibility on that as well.
Good.
So if we're asked, Lori, what are we gonna do with respect to the diocesan contracts and 6 months versus 1 year probationary period, things like
I can talk to Bishop Lee and let him know that that the search committee had presented and that we had approved, and then he actually tells us if it's okay. He sends us a written permission is what it says in the, I looked in the book today.
Okay.
And then, so we ask his permission and then he sends it to us. Or that's what they say, a letter, but I'm sure that he probably does a phone call. He's much less formal than that.
Great.
that. Okay, so it's gonna be up to him, you're saying?
Well,
That's the final.
I will tell you that I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago and he said that, that if he chose to come, that he would have no objection.
Okay.
So no, it's just the formality of asking him.
I guess my question really was, if we are asked, do we prefer a 6 month or 3-year or a 5-year contract? Say, assuming that's the choices. What would we go for?
What do you guys think?
5 years. That's,
I have to agree with like a 5-year myself. I
Well,
feel
you know,
with the
1 year is gonna be just getting used to it.
Right,
learning the job.
right.
in 1 year,
It always
maybe,
happens. And that goes fast.
and the last year is a dead year, or could be, unless we want to go for, so you got 3 years. I just, 5 years
Seems better.
is
Yeah.
reasonable. We don't need to go
You can
through the
start
spin of
5
3
and then
years.
there would be room for negotiation. If he said, I prefer 3, and then we're willing to accept that, I mean, you have to be willing to
Oh, yeah.
accept what he,
Yeah, what he's looking for too, I guess that's gonna be kind of
Yeah,
what
sure,
are we
sure.
willing to accept, I guess,
Mhm.
is the
So starting with a 5-year contract.
Let's shoot for the moon.
Yep.
And see what we get.
And
Always
then-
start with what you want and
and,
work your way down to what you're willing to
It's called
accept.
negotiating.
Negotiation.
And if we're asked for the probationary period, I mean, I don't even know if we're gonna be asked for any of this at all, so that's, but I just wanted to be prepared in case we were. That's
And
all.
are we confident in a 5 year that we would be able to have that trajectory to support that full-time increase for 5 years? Do you feel confident?
I think that's the other thing too, is what we're gonna have to negotiate as far as pay and things like that. So that could be another thing that's gonna factor in that. I mean, what are we looking at for, pay? Is he looking for a percentage increase every year? What are we looking for as far as that goes? What are our expenses